Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Test and Tune, and the second episode on the HPI Trophy Truggy Flux restoration project. So, from where we last left off, I was going to strip the car down and give it a clean and try and work out what we needed. As you can see, she's looking pretty clean here. Now, what I could identify from the last video, we needed to replace the rear wing mount. It didn't have a rear wing. The body well, it came with two bodies and they were both absolutely destroyed. So I've ordered some bodies. Then I went through and I actually disassembled this corner the following day after that video. And just worked out what we had to do to clean it up and get it looking good. And all I've done is basically with a brass wire wheel, just remove the rust from the metal components, the drive shaft, then I've painted the springs and just give everything a good degrease and clean. That's all I did on that corner. That included getting rust off. In fact, let's just overlay a quick clip of the condition of this because it was really, really bad from being sitting in storage for so long, but it literally takes minutes to clean it all up. And I'd sort of left it at that stage, ordered a load of parts to get it working. Now, the other thing that I was a little bit concerned of, the steering, which I think I did mention it in the other video, the steering here was really loose, and also the wheels had a fair bit of play in them, the front wheels. Now, I thought that play was being caused by these parts here, which is the steering knuckle, or the plastic outer part of the steering knuckle. They were basically full of glue down the bottom, so I assumed they'd been threaded or pulled out or something, so I ordered new ones of those. However, whilst I've been working on this every now and again throughout the nights, and that's why there hasn't been a solid video on this. I just haven't had a chance to get back to it. There's the new parts there that I ordered. I also ordered a steering replacement kit. I got all this stuff on eBay and online, and I think these prices are what I paid. But I've now spent about $110 on parts, including two shells, the wing, and all the genuine HPI parts. However, unfortunately, I didn't need those two because the part that was actually worn out in the front, what's happened, at some point somebody has threaded these metal knuckles. Now the bearings are all good. Where the screws go through, it's just threaded the aluminium. Obviously somebody's cross-threaded them and been a bit rough with them. Now I didn't order new ones of these because I thought it was the plastic that was faulty. So what I've done over the last couple of days, I've actually cleaned them up as much as I can and I've filled them up with JB Weld. Now what I'm going to try and do in this episode, is drill these out and tap them so that we can use the original screws. I won't even need to touch that pack, and actually get some purchase inside here. I'm not sure how long the JB Weld's going to work, but I just want to get this thing back together so we can have a bit of a play with it. If not, I think these are about $22 for another pair of them, and we can replace them if the repair doesn't work. Actually, let's just show you all the bits. That's the new wing. I did get the shells out. The shells have come from China. They were quite warped when I got them, the red and the black. But I left them in the sun actually for a day, and they've sort of gone to the right shape, although they do still need to be cut properly, but they're very similar to the original shell. We'll do some more bits on that later. The drive shaft, which I actually broke in the last video. Now this truck does have CVs on all corners apart from the drive shaft I broke. To keep it cheap, I just ordered a single drive shaft. Since buying this genuine one for $15, I could have got cheaper ones aftermarket for a lot less. Sounds like the trees are falling down. This is the wing mounting kit, which will bolt onto the back section. We'll get to that hopefully in this video. I did order another battery tray. So this battery tray here is all a bit manky, and that was just about to break off. There we go. And that's what, sorry, not battery tray, the ESC tray. That holds the ESC in place. I think I mentioned it on the other video, but the ESC, it's a bit dodge. I have got all new wiring and connectors to get this properly soldered, and that will probably be in the next video, but we'll get to it soon. What do we hear? Oh, rear brace screws. So this was just to replace screws in the back that were rusty from memory. Yes, because I have got separate screws for the bolt. Maybe that's, I can't remember what they're for. Now, I thought I'd lost one of the pins for the wheel knuckles. I ended up finding the pin. Couldn't believe it. I could have just made that pin, but the naivety and trying to save some time, I spent $17 on a whole set of 4. I'm sure they get used on something. And the last thing I bought is spring spacers. So this truck is set up with 8 springs or shocks. And when the truck is fully extended, you see there the spring actually falls away. Now, it could be for preload reasons, I don't know, but I am going to run this with 2 lipos instead of 1 like the previous owner. So I bought this kit. I'm sure I'll use it on other models as well, but it will just help adjust the preload so that the spring doesn't actually fall off the shock when it's fully extended. Guys, I'm going to basically assemble all these bits. Now, I have got some pictures of these from a few days ago before I cleaned them all up. But they've all been cleaned on the wire brush. All the shocks and everything have been cleaned. One of the shocks did have a slightly bent shock shaft. I think it was that one. And I've just bent it back. It's still full of oil. It's still working like a shock. So yeah, I'm just going to run it. This truck should only have one on each corner, so I'm sure we're going to be fine. We can adjust it later on. All right, let's switch to a time lapse and get it assembled. Well, that is it all back together, which hopefully the time-lapse showed. I have cut out the shell, but I'll save that for the final video. But the only thing that's actually left to do on it now is sort out all the electronics, which I think I did show before, but we're going to have to get onto some decent, proper soldering to get all this stuff worked out. I have got the wire and everything to do that, but I'm going to do it in a separate video. I'm pretty happy with how this has all turned out. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but I have fed in some negative camber onto the front wheels, purely just because I think it looks cool. And yeah, most of the rust is now all gone. In fact, I'll try and overlay some before and after shots, but we now have pretty much a corrosion-free chassis that's left. About the only bits that are sort of particularly ugly now are the nuts and screws down the center section here, but pretty much everything else is cleaned up really well, and it's cleaned up easy with a brass wheel. Just so that you know what brass wheel I'm using, I'm based in Australia. You can get these from Bunnings for, I think it was like $80 or $90, and then it was $10 for the wheel for that little bench grinder thing, and it's made it so quick. In fact, I think I did film a little bit of me doing one of the suspension mounts. I did also buy this from China, which was, I think it was like $8 delivered. It's a set of commonly used RC bolts. This did come in handy with a few bolts that were bent and just a bit like had threaded heads, that sort of stuff. But we're getting there. It's going to be a fun little buggy. Something that I haven't actually said to camera yet, I did manage to sell the battery charger that this come with for $200. So right now I'm into this, including all the new, sorry, not for $200, for about $90, I think. Which means I'm into this with all the new parts for about $210 all up. And that includes the shells and everything that I bought to repair it. So yeah, it's going to be a cheap little bit of RC fun that I can have some fun with, hopefully. I've enjoyed working on it. It's been a nice little break from normal work. Yeah, and hopefully I'll be able to sell it and not lose too much money. Guys, if you've got any questions about what I've used to do this repair, if you want a link to the rear wing, which is a China wing, which cost, I think, $6. The shells were $20 delivered. They're not HPI, but they're close enough. It's going to be pretty good. Alright guys, we'll see you in the next video. Hopefully it won't be 2 months for that one, where we actually get all the electronics fixed and use the bloody thing. Thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you on the next Test and Tune. Peace.